Alrighty folks, thanks for joining us on another forecast video today. This being recorded as of 3:32 p.m. on Monday, March 7th, 2011, just for an update on some river flooding and otherwise flooding that we're seeing right now across the Northeast. I'm just going to take you over to the Mid-Atlantic River Forecast Center for a peek at what's going on right now across the region. All the river gauges that you see shaded in green have no flooding. The yellow ones that you see shaded in yellow are near the flooding, and the couple orange ones showing up, that's where minor flooding is now occurring. And I do expect that, typically it's 18 to 30 hours after a rain event that the rivers crest, and that looks to be the case. So we have a little while until these rivers are going to crest, and many will reach moderate and major flooding, and that's already occurred here. As you make your way to the north and east portion of the forecast region, we take a way out just to the north of the New York City metro area, about just west of White Plains. We've got many gauges reporting moderate flooding and 3 gauges reporting major flooding near Pompton Lakes, I believe, also near a little waterfall or whatever that place is called. I go to the Northeast River Forecast Center for New England and New York State. You can see that we have major flooding occurring at this time at the Stevenson Gauge for the Housatonic River in Connecticut. We also have widespread moderate flooding that is expected to occur or is already occurring, and many areas across the Boston area and the Merrimack Valley of New England will experience at least minor flooding. To the north, you're not going to have flooding problems because your flooding fell as snow, okay? However, you may have some ice jams to contend with. You may see a pocket of moderate and major flooding in just west of the Merrimack Valley of New England because you have those ice jams to contend with, which will make the flooding even higher. So that's an analysis of what's going on right now in terms of the flooding. I'll take you over to the current radar imagery. You can see how our snow subsided at just a couple mountains, getting a few flakes at this time across the North Country in New England. We look nationally, and things are pretty darn quiet. We're just seeing one disturbance moving through the heartland. But that's just what's showing up, how things are showing up on the radar. If we look to the satellite, you'll see a developing storm at this time, and that storm is not showing up on radar because, it's a fact that we have horrible radar coverage out in the western portion of our country, in the Four Corners region and the Intermountain West, because of the mountainous qualities. And I didn't load this up for you, which was quite unprofessional, I'll admit, but I'm loading it up now. Here we go. So here's the satellite imagery that I forgot to load up earlier, and you see that there's that one disturbance moving through the heartland, but there's more energy coming right now, exiting the Four Corners, eastern New Mexico and northern Texas through Oklahoma, now getting precipitated on, and that is the case with the storm. And as we go out through time, you see how the storm really makes a name for itself. I'll show you the name. And here we are out to 60 on Tuesday, and we've got cold air across this area, we've got warm air across this area, we've got a low developing here. It's weak, it's 1004 millibars, but it's got precipitation developing across western Kansas through the morning hours. And as we go into the afternoon hours of Tuesday, you've got your suppressive shield that's spread all the way from the Gulf of Mexico, where your moisture source is, straight through southern Nebraska, or around the Nebraska-Kansas border. And it takes a while for your low to really strengthen, and at that point, if you draw a line straight north and south of the low, here we are at the evening hours of Tuesday, you say once you get west of that line, so essentially northwest of the low pressure center, that is where you're getting your snow, and that's going to be the case if the northwest flank of the storm gets snow, occasional blizzard conditions, and that's the case throughout the night on Tuesday and through the early morning hours of Wednesday. It starts to wrap up by Wednesday afternoon, but not before pushing through Minneapolis, and then by the evening hours pushing through the upper Great Lakes. But what the heck happened to our other 90% of the storm down in this area? Here's what's happened. Here we are out to 18Z on Wednesday. We've got some storms and some heavy rain firing through Dixie. Meanwhile, off to the north, we've got rain developing in the western Appalachians, or west of the Appalachians. And what's happening at this point is it's still somewhat cool across New England, but as we make our way through the day on Thursday, it looks like there's a good potential that much of the day on Thursday ends up being quite a nice day for New England. Here we are out to the morning hours. It's raining in the Appalachians. It's snowing in Ontario. And then as we go But if you look to the map, we've got a southerly wind flow, okay, and that's the case for the day on Thursday, that your winds are coming out of the south for New England, so you may have actually a decent day. It's going to be cloudy, but the day might be decent. But it takes till the evening hours for this precipitation to really develop, okay, across the mid-Atlantic and then move off to the north and east. Now the GFS really develops it. I mean, this is a lot of heavy rain that's already formed by the evening hours of Thursday, okay, and that pushes through New England through the day on Friday, but wraps up by Friday night, leading into a nice weekend, blah 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 blah. But it might not be that simple. You might not see a situation this time around where you can just trust the GFS. Now let's just start with the GFS precipitation amounts. All those oranges are 2 to 3 inches of rain. Pretty similar in terms of QPF to the storm we just had. Otherwise, things are pretty quiet. Now, in terms of the European, let's just show what they're doing. You got the storm. It's a little slower, a little less progressive than the GFS, a little bit stronger, okay, and it doesn't move east. So New England doesn't get as much rain. They get a little bit of rain, but not as much. The heavy rain is across central Pennsylvania back through central New York. You got 2 to 4 inches of rain in that region, 2 to 3 inches of rain otherwise across the Appalachians. Canadian, maybe we should just look at it just for laughs, because it can be the outlier and be very grotesquely wrong much of the time, but let's just show you what it's showing. You've got about 3 to 6 inches of rain here across the southern Appalachians, 3 to 6 inches of rain for eastern Ohio, 3 to 6 inches of rain for western Pennsylvania, and back through Ontario. That is a very bad solution for the rivers that are already experiencing major flooding, okay. But the more we look at this event, it looks like the immediate northeast coast might be spared. And it's looking more and more like the last event, where the heaviest rain is west of the big cities. What's different is that you won't see the snow this time. Your swath of snow is essentially in here. Alright, so I think just gonna have to keep tracking the storm and see how things pan out in terms of the second round 2 of flooding rain across the northeast. Alright folks, thanks for checking in. Have a great day.